This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. We are here with our old friend Anders Kissmeyer. We are here at the Spoke Club in Toronto. Anders is here for a very special event happening over the next couple of days. Anders, how are you?
Excellent, thanks Jamie. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Now, you have quite an interesting backstory as to how you got to where you are today in the world of brewing. Would you mind filling us in on some of that?
Oh yeah, well, it is a very, very long story, so to keep it sort of ultra short, I have a background working quite a lot of years for Carlsberg, and then after that I started up one of the first craft breweries in Denmark in the early zeros, and after that, sort of like 4 or 5 years ago, I went solo with my own sort of one-man gypsy brewing company.
This is the brewery in a suitcase idea.
Brewery in a suitcase idea, yeah. And it's very much based on me traveling around brewing beer with some of all the good people I've come to know in the industry over the years. So loads of fun brewing in a suitcase, as I call it. And yeah.
Now, where have these travels taken you with regards to the collaborative beers?
Oh, anywhere, I would say, from Australia through various countries in Europe, and quite a bit in the US, and a couple of places here in Canada as well.
Now, although this is a very difficult question for you to answer, how would you describe your brewing style?
Yeah, well, it's actually, I mean, obviously you're forced to give that quite a lot of thought as time passes. My brewing style is actually sort of very much accessible beers that are easy to drink and sessionable. Sort of my interpretations on given styles are never extreme, but always sort of more balanced and harmonious, and for the very simple reason that it's what I prefer myself.
Now, your most recent collaboration with a Canadian brewer was with Beau's from Vankleek Hill outside of Ottawa, and that was your Nordic Pale Ale. Tell us a little bit more about that beer, because I know it's still on the shelves here.
Oh yes, it is. It's become quite a huge success, to the great joy of both myself and Beau's. And it's an expression of sort of the philosophy that I've been working on for the past 2-3 years as relates to brewing. This word Nordic is to be taken fairly literally, in the sense that instead of keeping on copying existing beer styles from either Europe or the US or elsewhere, it's kind of looking into our own terroir and finding out what is uniquely Nordic, and how can we turn this into interesting beers. And obviously anybody with at least sort of just a touch of a foodie background will know that this is just plainly stolen from the new Nordic cuisine philosophy. But it's extremely logical to take that and transfer that into the brewing world and say, if it works well within food, why on earth shouldn't it work well within beer as well? And it just makes more sense for us as Nordic brewers, if you will, to follow that philosophy than keeping on putting our own little twist on American or Czech or German or English beer styles, if you will.
And which ingredients did you add to the mix when it came to making that Nordic Pale Ale?
We decided for the Nordic Pale Ale, we decided to go with some ingredients that would both be, that you could term indigenously Nordic, Scandinavian, and also sort of indigenous to Ontario as well.
I see. Oh.
So herbs like bog myrtle, fruit like cranberry. We're using Ontario maple syrup in the recipe as well. And then we're using rose hips.
It does have a unique flavor, that is for sure. It's something that I can remember the very first time I tasted it. I was quite taken aback by it. I think I mentioned that to you actually the first time. But over time, I've grown quite in love with it. I have to say, I actually enjoy it a great deal.
I'm very happy to hear that, obviously.
But would you were talking about session beers and the like. Would you consider that one to be a session beer?
Well, not according to sort of the regular definition, because it's a bit too high in alcohol.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
It's above 6% alcohol, and I guess when people talk about session beers, it has to be like 4% alcohol or lower. But I'm talking about sessionability,
Right.
Which means that it is fairly easy to drink, and you feel like having another one after you've had the first one. Might be slightly dangerous with
That's
the
what I was thinking. It depends depends what kind of session you're looking for. But
I still consider that a positive, though.
Now, you're actually looking to do another collaboration with Beau's. Can you let us into any of the secrets behind that right now?
I definitely can. We're continuing down the road of Nordic beers, so we're going to brew a Nordic style saison, which is sort of a drier and a more spicy beer. And we're going to go with some rhubarb, some heather flower, if I'm not wrong for this one. And then we're going to reuse the rose hips from the Nordic Pale Ale recipe, because I've really become a great fan of using rose hips in brewing. Gives sort of a beautiful slight tartness, creamy body, and a very rounded fruitiness.
Now, we're talking about Nordic cuisine. When it comes to your Nordic Pale Ale, what would you say was the perfect kind of food match for that, or what have you experimented with?
I would love to, almost any kind of seafood. I would think it goes very well. I mean, smoked salmon, gravat salmon, or even things like salads with shrimp or things like that. I would probably go with sort of cold, light dishes and not go into the warm kitchen with that beer in general.
You're making me very hungry here, Anders.
Yeah.
Anders Kissmeyer, thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. We wish you all the best with your upcoming collaboration with Beau's, the next one, and all the best with this Nordic event you're doing tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Look forward to the next time, Jamie.
Bye for now.